I used to be a cryptid hunter, a title that brought both pride and dread. For years, I roamed the backwoods and abandoned towns in search of creatures that defied explanation. Werewolves, chupacabras, Mokalambembe. But nothing prepared me for my last hunt, one that would leave me scarred and haunted forever. It started with a phone call from an old colleague, Jake, who had gone missing after investigating reports of shadow people in a remote town. They were the stuff of nightmares, entities that slipped between dimensions, appearing as dark silhouettes that devoured light and sanity. I had heard the stories, but I never thought they were real. Until now. I set out to find Jake, armed with little more than a flashlight, a camera, and a heart full of dread. The town was a ghost of its former self, swallowed by the encroaching forest and the whispers of those who had fled. The locals had long abandoned it, speaking in hushed tones about the shadows that roamed the streets at night. I parked my car and stepped into the twilight, the air thick with a sense of foreboding. As night fell, I made my way through the crumbling buildings, the darkness pressing in around me. My flashlight flickered, illuminating the remnants of a life once lived. A child's toy, a broken window, a faded photograph. But the deeper I ventured, the more I felt the weight of unseen eyes watching me. I set up my camera in the town square, hoping to catch a glimpse of the shadows. As I waited, the temperature dropped and the air became electric with tension. I could hear whispers, soft and unintelligible, echoing through the empty streets. I brushed it off as the wind, but my instincts screamed otherwise. Then I saw them, shapes darting at the periphery of my vision, flickering in and out of existence. I turned my camera toward the movement, heart racing, but each time I focused, they vanished. Panic settled in. I was not alone. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, a tall, shadowy silhouette that seemed to absorb the light around it. My breath hitched in my throat. It was a shadow person, just as the legends described. I felt an overwhelming urge to flee, but my feet were rooted to the ground, paralyzed by fear. "Jake!" I called out, hoping against hope that it was him. But the figure remained silent, its outline shifting and swirling like smoke. I could feel its gaze piercing through me, probing my very essence. It was as if it was searching for something, and I realized with dawning horror that I was the prey. I stumbled backward, heart pounding, and turned to run. But the shadows were everywhere now, filling the streets, blocking my path. I could hear their whispers growing louder, a cacophony of voices that twisted my thoughts. "Join us," they beckoned, promising a release I could not comprehend. I sprinted through the town, the shadows closing in, their cold fingers brushing against my skin, leaving a trail of ice that numbed my soul. I could feel their pull, an insatiable hunger that threatened to consume me. I burst into the woods, branches clawing at my face, but I didn't stop until I reached my car. I fumbled with the keys, hands shaking, and finally managed to start the engine. As I sped away, I dared to glance in the rearview mirror. The shadows stood at the edge of the forest, watching me leave with hollow, empty eyes. Weeks have passed since that night, but the shadows have followed me. They linger in the corners of my vision, creeping silently in my dreams. I hear their whispers in the quiet moments, and sometimes, when the night grows too dark, I can feel their cold breath against my neck, urging me to return. I am a former cryptid hunter, yes, but now I am haunted by the very thing I sought to understand. The shadows are real, and they are patient. They wait for me to lower my guard, to invite them back into my life. And deep down, I know I will return. The shadows are not finished with me yet.